Thank you very much, Aaron, and welcome to everybody. I'm super excited today because once again, we will talk about data warehouse automation. And at this time, we will challenge AnalyticsCreator by automating a data vault warehouse for Azure. And of course, I don't do it alone. So with me, I have once again Robert Book, BI analytics architect by BI automation, and I would say a passionate data warehouse enthusiast, right? With the 20 years of experience. And with him, his son, Tobias Buck, who it seems to share the same position or the same passion, if you want, as his father's, and excited to, to present an interesting data vault scenario for us. So, Tobias, it looks like you are, increasing your knowledge. So the last time you were so kind to be the beginner, which you were really very successful, I would say. So now today you have the hard job to show a bit stuff around the data vault. So I'm very enthusiastic about this. Welcome, Robert. Welcome, Tobias.
Thank you.
So my name is Rosario Di Lorenzo, and after 50 years, still have a lot of fun supporting global partners growing their business. And today I will use a bit of Robert and Tobias' time, about 8 minutes, so that I introduce the company and our architecture. So AnalyticsCreator is a Munich-based German startup, launched in 2017. But the founders have been shaping the data automation domain for more than 15 years and created a solution that simplify and automate the modeling of a data warehouse, or if you want, multiple data warehouses, 10 times faster than hand coding. Currently, we count over 120 customers, where we see most of them in Europe and in APAC. And we are very fortunate they get the assistance from more than 15 value-added partners around the world. One of those is in the line today. And finally, they help the data engineers to reduce on repetitive tasks that they have to deal every day. We believe this is the real engineering challenge. So, while the industry, through different software stacks, platforms, or if you want a combination of those these days, treat to support the job and the challenges, we see all this technology were not necessarily decreasing the workload of data engineers. Moreover, the risk we see is they are moving more and more those companies into lock-in situation, and this was never so high as it is today. So, but it is okay if a company decides to go that way for whatever reason. It's fine. So we believe using using technology that simplify and automate the modeling of a data warehouse is the optional, or let's say is the potential solution for data engineers. And for companies, the best way to regain control of their data and finally to reduce operational cost. With AnalyticsCreator is a really high adaptable solution. We don't only focus on restoring engineering freedom, but we also try, very successful, I would say, make the code, the SQL code, free from any runtime dependencies. Let me share more insight in the next slide. So here's a great graphical representation of our automated low-code data modeling system. As you can see, it seamlessly integrates with the Microsoft stack and allows you to visualize all your information with the tools you are familiar with. But let's deep dive a bit more. So Here, here is one way, among all others, to illustrate the architecture of AnalyticsCreator. The creation process really begins with a novice or a data expert in your company who will, who with AnalyticsCreator establish a connection to the data source of his choice and extract the metadata automatically. When we think about metadata, it's really such as field description, data types, etc. Or of course, inclusive its references so that the metadata catalog is created finally. At this point, he just needs to utilize our very powerful wizard, and in minutes, a draft version of the data warehouse is visualized. A data warehouse that theoretically is ready to be deployed. However, in the reality, the developer starts modeling his business case, such as adding measures, schema design, etc. All change that you do during the entire data lifecycle, and of course, it's very important to mention, are of course synchronized and documented automatically. Once the developer has completed the modeling process, he initiated the deployment process. Here he can choose the target environments shown in the graphic and much more. So before we move to the next slide, I would like to mention that AnalyticsCreator today is one of the most high-performing data warehouses automation solution available on the market. And it is capable to handle, because actually it is capable to handle a huge amount of data, terabyte level here, fast, efficiently, and above all in a multi-user mode, thanks to its automation engines, customizable script, which it is also offered in the tool, and so on. So there are of course big stakeholder benefits. I don't want to go through each one, but let me comment on few. On the decision makers side, we see the team efficiency increased, of course. So the repetitive tasks are considerably reduced, so which means that the productivity is increased, right? So, and the operational risks are also reduced, right? Why? Well, AnalyticsCreator helps in the regulatory compliance and reduce the risk of data breaches and penalties. But also very important, and the nightmare of never-ending projects and changing requirements. On the developers and the data engineer side, so we see, standardized and high adaptable code. What does it mean with that? It doesn't matter how developers or data engineers model data or adapt the code. AnalyticsCreator makes sure the code is always standardized. It also means that by, when many engineers try to work on a project, they still, the AnalyticsCreator still make sure that the Microsoft standard is maintained. And of course, let me comment on the reuse previous investment. Your previous investment is safe. You can, if you initiate a data warehouse or start coding something, etc., you can integrate in a way, in AnalyticsCreator too. All beautiful things, but much more beautiful, I like this slide, is that behind the great benefits, there are some surveys that confirms what we were saying so far. And this is, it comes from customers, right? And thanks to today's feedback, we were ranked high on BARC surveys for the past 4 years. So 4 years long, we were leading all these KPI, most of them. So for the one of you not living in Europe or not knowing who is BARC is one of our European leading analyst firms focusing on business intelligence and analytics. So I would like to conclude showing an abstract of some of our long-lasting customers. And now I'm very pleased to hand over to you, Robert and Tobias. The stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rosario, for the introduction words and the explanation where AnalyticsCreator is coming from and going to. Yeah, so first of all, I would like to share my presentation. So now you hopefully can see our presentation. So BI Automation GmbH is located in Vienna, Austria, and we are partnering with AnalyticsCreator since 2020. We are using AnalyticsCreator in all our projects, and I really appreciate it very much because of the transparency in data flows, transparency of data lineage, and finally, we have a very high quality. We can discuss with our customers really in a way where we are not, let's say, guilty if something goes wrong. Yeah, because the data lineage and the transparency about where data coming from and going to is really there. So we have customers from, let's say, 200 to 30,000 employees in all branches. We build what we additionally do besides using AnalyticsCreator is we building trustful data platforms for BI and analytics. Finally, to build state-of-the-art dashboards and reports. Building dashboards and reports, we are more in a trainer position. That means we provide templates. We help customer to see in their self-service analytics platform how they can create then with Power BI or with Tableau their own dashboards. IBCS is this international business communication standard. That means Professor Ichert conform dashboards so that business can read this data. I just want to remind you about this general architecture, and I'm using that as basic that you understand what you will see in the workshop in the next I would say 15 minutes or 30 minutes. So from here to here we have this empty frame. You see there's an open repository and there's the AnalyticsCreator automation engine. So the first thing we need to do is we need to have an Azure where we will import data. We are providing 4 tables. So this will be really, let's say, a basic approach to go for, so that you understand what this data vault model is doing out of 4 sources, 4 tables. Then we start the AnalyticsCreator software, and there is a wizard, a DWH wizard, a really magic one, and it reads all the metadata in a dictionary. And when you do this import process, all these import processes and all the metadata are stored in an internal database that only AnalyticsCreator is using. So that means everything you do when you start with modeling, preparing, transforming, enriching is stored in this internal database. Then you come to the deployment process. So if you feel comfortable, you can run a deploy first time. Then that means that also the deployment information is stored in the SQL Server repository. You will see later when Tobias will do the preparation, always if you hit the so-called sync data warehouse button, then information is synced to this SQL Server store. When the deployment process is ready, also the SSIS packages are created, and these SSIS packages, you can open that with Visual Studio in the at least with the community edition of Visual Studio if you have a small project. And then the next step is you need to run these SSIS packages. In this demo, we will show you a Power BI dataset in Azure. That means with the deployment process, let's say the model will be created, but data are not there. Why? Because first we need to run the SSIS job, and therefore to really go into the cloud and that we really then get data in the Power BI dataset, we have a database. It is called AV, yeah, and in this database, all the data coming from the data vault model will be stored. And the next step is that the Power BI dataset needs to be filled, and this will be filled out of the SQL Server database in Azure. So when the dataset is ready, we simply need to connect with Power BI, and then we can visualize the data that are in the Power BI dataset. That means from the dimensioning model will be here, and you can visualize that with Power BI. So I told you at the beginning that we choose 4 tables. It's a really, I would say, it's a straightforward approach. Yeah, we have customers. A customer table simply just with customer ID, customer name, and segment. So where is the customer coming from? Then we have an orders table, order date, shipping dates, customer ID, city, states, and so on. Then we have the ordered products in one table. Yeah, so this is, if you think about an invoice, this is the header, and these are the details. So hopefully the customer has not ordered just one product, many products. These are stored here in this table. There's the sales amount, there is the quantity, there is the discount, and what we additionally have integrated here, we can see the profit that the company is generating out of this, how this can be done, for instance, with a if you know the real your own price when you purchase the goods, and when you sell it finally to a customer, you can take this difference as profit. And then we also need a products table. In this products table, there's the product ID, a product category and subcategory, and the name of the product. Yeah, and so this is let's say the data model which you have in an ERP service system, for instance, and it is straightforward, I would say, in the third normal form, and it is the ideal data model for create, read, update, and delete operations. But what we will do in this data vault, in this data vault architecture, we want to import daily large amounts of data, and therefore data vault is designed. So I had, I would say, 4 years ago, a project with Hermes. It is close, it's located in Hamburg. Hermes, it is the logistic partner of Otto Versand. And they, for instance, had the problem that they need 18 hours to load the data in the data warehouse. And we redesigned that with Data Vault 2.0, and we reduced the time to load the data to 4 hours. So they are now comfortable with that, and they can work with that. And yeah, the funny thing is you need this really tricky architecture where you split each entity into hubs, satellites, and links. And if you do it correctly, then you finally create the dimensioning, your dimensions, or the dimensioning modeling always out of the hub and the satellites, because the satellites consist and all this is AnalyticsCreator doing for you, and then you can visualize after the deployment process and loading process and so on. You can visualize that in a Power BI dashboard. So this is what you will see in the workshop. Tobias will guide you through that process, and I'm very proud that that he gained that knowledge in a very short time, and you will see it is it looks really easy, and if you use AnalyticsCreator, it is also easy. Okay, thank you. I hand over to Tobias.
All right. So once again, we will start in a new repository in AnalyticsCreator. So last time in the beginner demo, we created a connector, so I will reuse the same connector this time, which is really a genius feature of AnalyticsCreator, in my opinion, that you can reuse connectors that you've used before and just import them from the cloud. So we will do that. We'll just have to select our folder. And then you can see that the connector has been imported successfully. So from that point, we can already open the data warehouse wizard, which is pretty much the main magical tool. Select our data vault, since we're going to be using data vault, and select the connector that we just imported. And now we will see the 4 tables that we talked about earlier. So we'll just drag them down. And we can now select which of these tables are supposed to be links and which of these are supposed to be satellites and so forth. Just going to select this. Then, of course, as well, I have to select the dimensions and facts. And then once that's done, we can click next. And over here, again, this is just a bunch of naming conventions, which you can change all kinds of settings here, but we don't need to do that at the moment. So let's click next. And once again, here we have all kinds of options. But the main one we're concerned with is that over here, include tables in facts. So at the moment, it's selected that everything direct related is included, but we want direct and indirect related as well. So we're gonna click over here, and then you can see down here there's a bunch of default transformation that can be done to the data. You can see all of them here. We don't really need them at the moment, so I'm gonna select no defaults here. And then I'm gonna click finish. And then the data warehouse wizard will do its job, and you will see it really takes a lot of work off your shoulders when you actually have designed it properly. So let's see when it's done. Okay. So as you can see, we have a pretty cool data warehouse already designed just by the data warehouse wizard. So now, see, I'm going to zoom out a bit so we can see the entire thing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the columns. Okay, so yeah, okay. So we can see all of our different layers here. So you can see all the source tables over here in this left column, which are then imported into the staging layer. And then you can see all of the necessary data warehouse layers that are usually there. So you can see this historization happening here. And then Tobias, sorry for the interruption. Just a quick question. Maybe you can show directly
Where do I find the change from business codes into hash? This was a question. And which layer will this act? Sorry for the interruption again.
Yeah, the hashing functionality is done. I just take the mouse. Yeah, you see this this hashtag here in the persistent staging layer. So here exactly at this position, also from the staging layer to the persistent staging layer, that means here where the historization happens. Yeah, the hash keys are generated automatically. These hash keys. Yeah, there is a MD5 hash key generation behind, and but it can be changed, and it is done completely automatically. The hash functionality, so you can in this database.
Sorry, Robert.
Yeah.
Just one notice: the hash keys will be generated during import, and in the staging layer. If you click on, for example, info customers table and show the calculated columns, then you will see exactly here the hash keys will be generated as calculated, persistent calculated columns in the import tables. Okay, sorry, you can continue.
Okay. I think the question is answered, right? Okay, please continue.
Okay, so we're gonna have a look at our fact table because we still have to, so you can see all the joins have already been done by the data wizard. And all that's left to do is add the actual columns for the fact table. So I'm just going to right click and select add all columns, where I just have to remove the unnecessary columns created. Okay, so then I can click save. And now the data warehouse is almost done. The only thing left to do is we have, as you saw in the preview, we have two date fields that are, it's not very good to store dates in the fact table as they are. So we have an order date and a ship date. And AnalyticsCreator, the data warehouse wizard, by default creates this calendar dimension. So we can just use a predefined macro from the AnalyticsCreator right here. So we have the order date here. And I can just right click and add calendar macro. And I can do the same with the ship date. And it will change the date to a foreign key. Then I'm going to click save. And if I now say synchronize data warehouse, you will see that AnalyticsCreator will automatically map the calendar dimension to the facts table. So as you can see, AnalyticsCreator has all like automatically detected that there's a relation there. And if you look, oh, this was the wrong one. And if you look in here, the only thing left to do is that one dimension can only ever be referenced to one column. So you can see that order date is referenced to the calendar dimension, but ship date doesn't have a reference because the calendar is already referenced to order date. But this is very simply solved by clicking here, and AnalyticsCreator already suggests you can create a new dimension based on the calendar dimension. And so I'm going to click this and I'm going to call it dim and ship date. Okay. Now I can click save and synchronize once again. And Now you will see that the calendar dimension has automatically been created and also already been mapped to the facts table. So I didn't drag and drop anything, or I didn't connect it by hand. So this was all done pretty much automatically. Okay, so now we're at a stage where we might want to deploy this data warehouse to Azure or wherever we want it. So for deployment, we will need to set the connection string for the connector, because if you can remember, I imported the connector from the cloud, and so all the metadata for the tables and stuff like that was also imported from the cloud, which means that the connector didn't actually need to have a connection to the data source until now. So this is why I'm only setting, this is why I can wait until deployment to actually set the connection string. Okay, so I'm gonna get the server name over here. The data source name is Superstore data source. Okay, and then we can test the connection, which works. Perfect. And now we can start with deployment. So with deployment, we're just going to create a new deployment package. Let's call it maybe first deploy or first Azure deploy. And we will select that at the moment only create DACPAC is checked, but we also want to deploy it. And then over here we can enter the server name. Let me just get the server name. And I'm going to change the database name to our database name. And then we're gonna put our login details in here, which, if I'm not mistaken, is this. And get the password as well. Okay, and then we also want to deploy our SSIS configuration. So we're going to select these two. And also we need to select all the SSIS packages here that need to be deployed. So I'm going to select all of them here because it's our first deploy. And then we also want to deploy our tabular model to Power BI.
Data center.
So I'm gonna select create script and create cube during deployment. And in here we also have a server name and database name and login. So once again, I'm gonna copy the server name. And database name will be seven. Okay, and our login, our Power BI account, which is the email address. And now all that's left to do is change the compatibility level to Power BI. So if we want to deploy there. And now we can save our deployment settings and hit deploy. And you will see that over here in this deployment log, AnalyticsCreator will start to deploy, and you you can see all the information and updates over here. Now I will hand back over to.
Yeah, because this deployment process takes some time. It's a lot of work to do, also for a computer. So I switch back to the presentation. So what are the benefits of this data vault architecture? The benefit is clearly that you can load more or less parallel all the data. That means you start with the hubs, then you load the links and satellites, and then the link satellites. So and it is really powerful and it is very quick, as I mentioned before. So in 4 hours, a really large data warehouse is filled with more than 1 terabyte of data. It is a flexible and stable architecture, since the hub have no direct relation to each other. Changes remain limited on topic area. It is also very good if you have, for instance, if a company decides to purchase another company and they have another ERP system, then you have the best flexibility with Data Vault to integrate these other systems. And it is built for long-term data storage. That means loaded data are not changed. When you change something in the data model, the past doesn't need to be reloaded, or all changes can be made with the existing data. These are the clear 3 benefits. Yeah, there are more, but I just want to go through these steps. So if you want to, before this is what we have accomplished in 30 minutes. This will come later, but I just want to recommend you a book if you are not really familiar with Data Vault 2.0. So this is more or less the Bible of Data Vault. Dan Lindstedt is the developer who has developed this architecture for data warehouses and building scalable data warehouse with Data Vault 2.0. Okay, I think we can go back to. Yeah. Maybe I need to do something on the. No. Okay, done. Okay, we see the deployment log. So this is it's a smaller screen, so the resolution is not perfect here, but yeah, we have shared this screen. So normally you can see more than 3 lines here, and I'm sure that Dimitri can tell us where this. So it is.
You can use the control button and mouse red to adjust the screen.
Yeah, okay. Additionally, okay, we can see it is done. Yeah, so with timestamp and Tobias, please.
Okay. So now that the deployment is done, we can. Now that the deployment is done, we can open it. So over here we have the directory set that the deployment will be stored in. I didn't need to change it because for us it's the same directory. So I will open the deployment and you will see that this is the latest. This right here is the latest deployment. And over here you see there's a Visual Studio project file, so you can just open this one. And as you can see, AnalyticsCreator has automatically created all the SSIS packages necessary. So all there's pretty much left to do is to execute the SSIS package, which we'll do now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, normally you have to do all this stuff in the SQL Server integration services. In some years ago, in the specially designed data tools. Data tools are now integrated into Visual Studio. Yeah, and thanks to AnalyticsCreator, everything is here.
Yeah, so as you can see, the data has been imported automatically. And now we will see, oops, if we can see a dashboard or something like this.
Okay. Okay. So I will start on another PC, Power BI. So I simply bring it in to this screen. Yeah. So now I'm directly on that machine. Power BI is open. Now I'm going to a Power BI dataset. I'm using Power BI Premium. I can see that here is a new Power BI dataset which is created today on the at 10:09. And you have created the 7. Yes. Yeah. And I'm connecting here. And here we can see that the, for instance, calendar dimension is there. Here you can see the calendar dimension. Shipping date is there. This is a snapshot information. That means every time, this is a snapshot functionality where all the data are stored in one snapshot. So if you create another snapshot, then you can go back in, let's say, in the past to see the data there. Here are the customers, the orders, and the products in a dimensional model. And here's the final fact table where all the facts are brought together. So if you want to visualize that somehow, just that you see that this is working properly, I'm going to take this ring diagram. I'm putting sales into the values, and then I'm going to the products and put the, for instance, the category in the legend, and additionally, I could bring the subcategory here. So for any reason we have no data, but there I can show you this data set, because yesterday we already have created this dashboard, and something goes wrong, then I have that already prepared. So if I click here, then you see there's the category and subcategory. We can go here to the sum of sales, that everything is correct. And here I have created a geo, eine Landkarte, also geographical information. The countries is inside, and profit and sales are there. So if I hover here over, then you can see profit and sales of France. I have the possibility to filter over the category, or I can also do a drill down, so that I go in the subcategories of France and go do a drill up. And the details for that are stored in that table, where here are the years and here are the product categories. Yeah, you can see the year, the sum of sales, category and subcategory. What I really like is that Microsoft has invented this donut chart, completely new. You can see inside the part that is the part of the 100%, let's say. Yeah, I like this visualization very much. Okay, I would say what we have done today. Let's share it. So we built a data warehouse based on Data Vault 2.0. Historization functionality is built. We built a dimensional model designed for high performance. So to this Power BI dataset, I would say more than 1,000 users can connect to that. The performance is really high. We have visualized the data lineage. We have deployed to Azure Power BI dataset, and we have connected a Power BI dashboard to a Power BI dataset. And here in this last slide, you can see the final Data Vault 2.0 data model, who is starting the sources here. The final dimensional data model is here, and all the things in between are all automatically created by AnalyticsCreator. So from my side, this is the presentation. I would hand over back to Rosario, and thanks to the audience.
Thank you, family book